let's close this out. I do want to talk about kind of my feelings towards Pocket Rumble on the Switch. So, the big deal with this game that they've been advertising the whole time is the simplified controls. And they are there. They do work. I do have some issues with it. Like, if you're playing on... Pull out a Joy-Con here. A Joy-Con, right? And you have to press down forward or down back for all your special moves. You're relying on those buttons to do diagonals. So you're constantly trying to hit, like, stuff like this and like this, trying to pinch those two versus, like, the D-pad. I don't know. It just feels a little more natural doing that. So if you're playing it portably or you're playing it on this thing, the Joy-Con grip, it can be a little tough. On a Pro Controller, it's great. I think the big thing to note about Pocket Rumble, if you think you're going into this game like, oh, I've always wanted to play Street Fighter, but I suck at doing fireballs or charge moves. Yes, this does take that barrier down. It is very simple to put those moves in, but it is a hardcore fighting game. All of the strategy is in there. The combos are in there. Understanding things like shimmies and footsies, spacing, character matchups, like all of the hardcore stuff you would want in this game is in here. And on one hand, it's great because as someone like, not to toot my own horn too much, but I play a lot of fighting games and I can really appreciate the nuance that is in the game, from characters having very specific combos, like the moves are built in a way to allow for combos to exist, to having cross-up buttons and all of that type of stuff. It's in there. So the depth is in there. The simplified controls are in there. But if you're thinking, I'm just going to pick the Ryu guy and do fireballs and flash kicks and I'm just going to win, like, no. You will get destroyed. And for a couple of reasons. Like, one, yeah, the complexity of a fighting game is absolutely in here. And two, well, there's a couple things, right? I want to play the arcade mode against the computer, and just to get my feet wet. There's no difficulty settings on the computer in arcade mode. The arcade mode, the computer will stomp you out. It is really hard, and even now I still can't beat it consistently a couple of days in. I can probably do it okay with Tenchi, but with every other character, like, forget about it. Computer is really tough, and that makes it really hard to get your feet wet. And then on top of that, playing online, that matchmaking is really wonky right now, and I don't know if it's because the player base is really small or because of some other matchmaking quirks in the system, but, like, my first match was against someone who was, like, top 5 in the world, and he just completely stomped me out. And even now on that stream, like, we played against a top 50 player, and I'm, like, way back, so it's going to be a really bumpy road if you decide to go into Pocket Rumble. And is it worth it? Maybe. I think that the characters are really cool. I love the way the characters are designed in terms of how they look and how they play. I wish there was more of them. I wish there was more meat to this experience. So right now, really, you can play some online matches. You can play against your friends online. You've got this arcade mode that's probably a little too hard. You've got essentially online mode except against the computer, where you still get ranking points. And a little bit of tutorial stuff. It's more about how the game, like, how to input special moves more than it is actually teaching you how to be good at the game. Though there is a whiff punishing tutorial, which I appreciated. So overall, for like $10, I think the game it's okay. I think the core gameplay here is great, but if you are hoping that this is going to be the game that eases you into fighting games, I don't think this is it. Yes, it does have the simplified controls, but I don't think it does enough to ease you into the experience, whether that's through wonky matchmaking that puts you against people that are too strong at your level, or against the computer who has no adjustable difficulty and is really tough. So, I don't know, if this still sounds like something you're interested in, like, by all means go for it. If you are a seasoned fighting game veteran and you just want to, like, mess around with a new game for a couple of hours, Pocket Rumble certainly fits the bill for that. But if you're thinking that this is your entry into fighting games because it seems so easy, it's definitely not that. You will get smoked. Be prepared to lose a lot. Be prepared to put a lot of time in training mode or playing against your friends to practice, because it's rough.